Advertising is the heart and soul of the sneaker industry. Does it surprise you to hear that? Well, if you think about it, a lot of the most enduring cultural symbols we associate with sneaker culture exist solely because of marketing. Whether it's the Jumpman logo or their iconic "Just Do It" tagline, advertising has helped make sneakers the global cultural phenomenon that they are today. Sneakers have changed a lot over the past few decades, and so too has their advertising. So without further ado, let's talk about sneaker advertising and how it evolved from print to advertising to social media. For starters, let's wind the clock all the way back to 1977, when print media reigned supreme. This was well before the ad campaigns that you're familiar with were making the rounds. Forget "Just Do It." This was years before even the Air Jordan had come into existence. So why is this year so important? Well, it was the year that Nike advertised its Word of Foot marketing campaign. The goal was to advertise the waffle trainer, aka the shoe that put Nike on the map. Designed by Nike co-founder and track and field coaching legend Bill Bowerman, the waffle trainer provided exceptional grip while being extremely lightweight, and its ad campaign was a true stroke of genius too. It was a simple slogan stating that the shoe was quote-unquote made famous by word of foot advertising, and it graced the glossy pages of magazines everywhere. Other old-school ad campaigns included the tagline, "There's no finish line," which also became a print media sensation back in the day. A reoccurring theme was that Nike showed pictures of athletes pretty prominently, so anyone could tell their shoes were great for sports. The brand was setting the stage for greater things to come. In 1984, Michael Jordan allowed Nike to use his name to market a whole new line of sneakers meant for discerning customers. By September 15th of the following year, Nike had unveiled the Air Jordan 1s for all to see, and sneaker culture has never been the same since. Firstly, there's the iconic Jumpman logo that popped up in newspapers and magazines alike. Full-page spreads depicted a silhouette of MJ himself soaring through the air, legs splayed, ready to dunk the ball straight into the basket. However, this logo is just the tip of the iceberg, so to speak. This is also when Nike moved into TV advertising with a keen understanding of what the public wanted and how to move units faster than ever before. Now, unless you were around in the 1980s, you probably never saw this iconic transition to the small screen. The ad is now the stuff of legend, but it seemed like a stroke of genius from day one. We're talking about the infamous band ad, which depicted Michael Jordan bouncing a basketball with the sound echoing as if he was standing in a massive warehouse. A narrator then makes the famous claim that the NBA banned the Air Jordan 1s from the court a little over a month after they came out, which basically meant that regular consumers could wear a pair of sneakers that was out of even MJ's own grasp. What's surprising is that Nike wasn't technically lying, although it's fair to call it a bit of an exaggeration. You see, MJ was fined $5,000 per game for wearing these shoes, but it had nothing to do with their performance. Rather, they didn't adhere to the 51% white color rule that NBA had in place. But regardless of that, the ad campaign capitalized on the controversy and made the Air Jordan 1s a must-have. Nike practically invented sneaker culture with these shoes, but they weren't the only ones putting intriguing ads out there. Reebok was also making waves with its "Reebok Lets You Be You" campaign. And you have to understand, Nike was a bit of an underdog in this race. Reebok had been around since the late 19th century, whereas Nike technically came into being in the 1960s under the name Blue Ribbon Sports. The brand had to do something spectacular to gain a majority of the market share. They needed an ad campaign that would blow everyone's mind. They had to, pardon the pun, just do it. And they did. The slogan is now one of the hallmarks of the advertising industry. It's a piece of history, but it has a rather gruesome origin story. You see, the Wieden-Kennedy advertising agency called a meeting to figure out a new tagline for Nike, and one of their founders, Dan Wieden, took inspiration from an unusual source: a criminal's execution. The inmate's name was Gary Gilmore, and his last words were apparently, "Let's do it." Pretty macabre, that's for sure, but it somehow switched a light bulb on in Dan Wieden's brain. The "Just Do It" tagline was coined in that meeting, and it was introduced to the public in 1998 through a massive TV campaign. The slogan has a universal quality to it, like we can all relate to having to get through tough times, right? We all have to push ourselves through moments of weakness. We all have to just do it. Okay, so we've pretty much exclusively discussed Nike so far, but can you blame us? It's the most popular sneaker brand in the world by far, but then again, it's definitely not the only player in the game. In 2004, Adidas launched their biggest campaign of all time with the tagline, "Impossible is nothing." Is this as good as Just Do It? Maybe, maybe not. But it's definitely up there in terms of sneaker advertising slogans. One of the first TV spots as part of this campaign featured NBA legend Tracy McGrady swerving through the court, with miniature military personnel seemingly impeding his every step, only for him to achieve a slam dunk against all odds. The spot ends with the iconic slogan showing that it's all about your mindset and that nothing can hold you back if you believe in yourself. Now, TV media was reigning supreme in those days, so it would have been really easy to mythologize these larger-than-life figures through these kind of TV ads. But Adidas also chose to do something different. Athletes would talk about how much they had to overcome to get to where they are today, and the incredible picture of Muhammad Ali served as the perfect launching pad for the slogan. This was also the era when sneaker magazines became a central part of the culture. Perhaps the best example of this is Sneaker Freaker and the independent publication that sent out its first issue in June of 2002. Over the decades, it became a focal point for anyone that loves sneakers by documenting their history. If there was a sneaker worth buying, Sneaker Freaker would most definitely talk about it at some point, and that meant that sneaker manufacturers had a dedicated publication for their ads. This was the first magazine that put sneakers front and center. Magazine ads had popped up now and again throughout sneaker history, but with Sneaker Freaker, they became the main attraction instead of just a sideshow. It was an important moment because it showed that sneaker culture was becoming a force to be reckoned with. Now, circling back to "Impossible is Nothing," something interesting happened as part of this campaign, and it had to do with a technological revolution. The internet had become a big deal by this point, and sure enough, Adidas had the good sense to use it in their strategy by incorporating internet videos into their "Impossible is Nothing" campaign. It was a great idea, obviously, even though the internet was still playing second fiddle to TV. It would take a while before the internet ad revenue would surpass TV ads, with this momentous exchange occurring in 2014. That's when the internet raked in a whopping $42 billion compared to the $40 billion brought in by TV ads, which meant that companies like Nike and Adidas had to kick their online advertising into overdrive. Both of these major brands had crucial internet ad campaigns during the 2010s. The focus was on virality, especially with YouTube becoming such a major hub for content, but there's another shift in mindset that we need to talk about. Companies were much less afraid to take political sides, and when Colin Kaepernick took a knee during the national anthem to protest the treatment of African Americans, Nike capitalized on it very effectively a couple years after it happened. The Dream Crazy campaign attained enormous virality all across social media, inspiring people to dream big and actually believe in something important. It depicted athletes like Kaepernick as people that pushed the boundaries of what society should be like, turning them into heroes for the ages. This spelled a new age for sneaker advertising, and it's the one we're living in right now, the age of social media, of big personalities being real instead of just posing for the cameras. Adidas wasn't far behind either, with its "Original is Never Finished" campaign creating a ton of buzz on the internet. Featuring reimagined cultural moments, the campaign made the bold statement that art and culture are ongoing processes that continue forever. The ad went viral multiple times and showed that Adidas was giving Nike a run for its money. It's only been a few years since these campaigns, but the nature of advertising has changed even in this brief time. The social media era has spawned an entire new genre of advertising. Sending free samples to YouTube personalities and other creators has become the name of the game. Simply allowing them to unbox your products and review them can give sales a massive push. So that's the approach that a lot of companies are taking. The sneaker manufacturers are no different. Where will the advertising industry go from here? Well, short form video is all the rage, so we might see ads that are much shorter than what we're used to. TikTok has emerged as a formidable force, with its rise leading other platforms like YouTube and Instagram to introduce short form content as well. There's no telling what the future holds, but one thing's for sure, sneaker advertising will be just as innovative as it's always been. So there you have it, folks. What's your favorite sneaker ad campaign of all time? Let us know in the comments below. That's all for now. See ya.